Hello.
Hello.
Testicles, 1, 2, 3.
Benti uno, mate. Benti uno.
21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27,
Do you speak Spanish?
28.
Do you speak Spanish?
Sí, mi amor.
Fucking hell.
Me encanta bailar.
Fuck off. How much Spanish do you... No,
I
what?
used to be really good at Spanish.
Did you?
Yeah.
What, were you dating a Spanish word?
No, I just did Spanish in school.
Were you quite a good learner? Were you quite quick learner?
I was good at it, and then I just kind of, after GCSEs, I just stopped doing it. Stopped doing Spanish.
Oh, I'd love to know another language. Like, I think it's so interesting. I've got one of our friends to teach me.
Just download Duolingo.
Oh, I can't be bothered. I've got one of our friends to teach me something in Spanish. And do you know what's really interesting? When I get someone to teach me like a line in like their language, I write it down how like I hear it, not how it's spelt, because it's easier to say it back.
You mean phonetically?
Phonetically, yeah. Well, I did my bat mitzvah phonetically. Bar mitzvah phonetically.
Yeah, you told me.
Because I was too lazy to learn Hebrew. So
That's so bad.
I know, like, so you got the Torah, and like you've got it on like a stand. Anyway, they got the Torah, and on top of it they had this like laminated thing, and I was just reading off of that, and everyone's looking, oh my god, this is so good. And I'm just there like just reading the phonetics.
Did the rabbi know you were doing that?
Obviously, yeah. Because he like
he trained you to do it.
Yeah, they like, it basically got to a point where like it wasn't a he, I think it was a she. I can't remember, but she was basically like
the rabbi was a woman.
Nah, well, you can get female. I think you can get female rabbis, but the person
you're confidently guessing about your own religion.
I'm pretty sure you can get female rabbis. I'm pretty sure.
Are they called rabbis?
Nah, I don't know. I actually don't know, because you get some. I'm trying to remember, like from when I was in shul back in the day, because you get some. Oh, yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember, but some of the female rabbis, they also wear something on their head. As like, I can't remember what it is, to be honest. Like, it's been so long since I've been in that culture. I just no idea.
You're obviously never interested in it whatsoever.
I remember I used to go to Sunday school.
Love Sunday school.
This is recorded. I used to go to Sunday school, and I used to go with like my headphones. My dad would drop me off back in the day, and it would be from like 10 o'clock until like 2 in the afternoon on a Sunday. Anyway, my dad would drop me off, and in the classes they would teach you about the history of like the Jews and stuff like that. And I just put my headphones in and just listen to music all day. I hated it. I found it so boring.
Do you not have tests? Sunday school exams?
No, we didn't. There was no test, nothing like that. It was just teaching exams. You. But what I used to do is at lunchtime when there was a tuck shop, I would like buy loads of the sweets, and then second break came around when there's no tuck shop, I would just sell it back to the kids like double the price. So I would just like make money every time I go. So I'd get like a tenner off my dad, or like a fiver, and a fiver's a lot, like a tuck shop, because everything's like 20p
back in the day.
So I'd spend like £5 and then bag it all, and then just shot it back to them like next lunch. You know what I mean? You want a Twix, mate? Let's fucking go. You know what I mean? Tell you what, mate, you're a loyal customer. Do you 2 for 50p? How does that fucking sound? So yeah.
No wonder you're in sales. You've been selling since you were a child. It all makes sense now.
It's fun, mate. It's fun. But the Spanish I learn is any of our Spanish listeners, because we're obviously transcending. We're international now. We're big. Yeah. We had 27,000 followers.
No.
Sorry. 20. We've now got 29,000. 29,000. Almost 30k on one of our TikTok videos.
Woo! Get us some TikTok, people.
Mate, I think it's time we quit our job. Like, we can basically like now start money. Like the endorsements haven't come in yet.
Maybe they're going to their spam. Have you checked?
I reckon there's just such a backlog
that
like the internet's crashing. Yeah. Because like Adidas, Gymshark, Nike.
It happens. Especially if too many people are sending you an email at the same time.
That's what I'm thinking.
Sometimes it can get lost in the trends.
It's coming.
Yeah.
But the Spanish line I learn is "Ye creo que eres la chica más guapa en el mundo." And that basically means you are the most beautiful girl in the world. Really funny story. When I was backpacking, I would learn, like, this is when I was like 21. Right. I had this mate who was German, and I learned this like German phrase, right? And look, it's a pretty fucking gross phrase, right?
Blast me einen.
No. It was basically like, how do you say, "Can I come on your face" in German, right?
Oh my goodness gracious me.
But I learned it so I could say it and act ignorant about it. Because like if you take to a German girl, like, oh, I've just been learning some German. Oh my God, what have you learned? I'd say, you are beautiful. And then I'd be like, oh, my friend taught me this line, apparently it's really nice. And I'd say it, and they go, oh my God, do you not know what that means? I'd be like, oh, it means like, you're beautiful, right? And they go, no, you idiot. Silly. Like it means that. And I'm like, oh my God, no way. Like I can't believe I've been saying that the whole time. And it was like a really good icebreaker because they're like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like teach you. You can't be saying that to people.
I got taught blast me einen.
What does that mean?
Just means suck my penis.
Blast me einen.
Yeah.
Blast me einen.
And then
I like that.
I got taught what's the word? Tiro tu cuerpo despacito.
Oh, I've seen. Isn't that
Well,
in
Despacito is a
like
song.
Yeah. Okay, so what is
Despacito.
it? What's the thing?
It means I want your body slowly.
How do you say it?
Tiro tu cuerpo despacito.
Tiro
Tu cuerpo
tu cuerpo
despacito.
despacito. I want your body slowly.
Yeah.
How would you say I want your body quickly? Extremely quickly and disappointedly.
I'm not sure. But anyway, we have completely digressed. Welcome back, everyone.
Sorry, let me mute that.
Dan's just hysterically coughing while we try and welcome you into the episode.
Welcome, episode 21. I'm so excited.
He's excited every episode, so it's kind of lost its vigor now because he says he's excited every episode.
Lucky number 21, mate. Lucky number 21.
Why is 21 lucky?
Because, I don't know, they've got a film in it. It's to do with what's the game? You know, like you pick two cards. Jack Black? So
Yeah.
Jack Black, yeah. 21's like the lucky number.
Is it?
Yeah, so they got a film. It's called Lucky Number 21.
Yeah, 21's an unlucky number, everyone.
Yeah.
Dan's just thinking that.
But 20... Oh, is that just muted?
No, it's not.
But we've made it to episode 21. I'm like pretty impressed. By the end of the year, because I know when we first started doing this, we were like, we wanted to do an episode maybe like once a month, once every 3 weeks. By the time we get to the end of the year, we've potentially managed to do one once a fortnight.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
54 weeks in a year. We're at 21.
So we need to get to, 24 episodes? 25 episodes?
No, Daniel.
My maths is really bad. I thought it was 20, because 12, double 12, 24. So if we do 24, we've basically done like...
We're 54 weeks, divide 54
I know,
by
but
2.
I was just looking at like the months, like 12 months. Do you know what I mean?
What's 54 divided by 2?
54 divided by 2. I know 50 would be 25. So,
God.
it'd be... Yeah, half. So it'd be like 27.
17? 27?
17, yeah, 27. Okay, well, we're not far... Okay, so we've got... November... Oh, yeah, we might not be able to get to that. But still, I think we've
close.
Definitely, because I feel like it's got to the point now.
Lockdown slowed us down, in fairness.
Lockdown was easier because we were recording more in lockdown.
We stopped for like 4 weeks, remember?
Nah, we still recorded, but we just
and you ruined your back as well.
Oh, I did, yeah, I did.
We missed a week for lockdown because the lockdown laws were really strict, and then you ruined your back, and you're out for a month.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just in case anyone didn't know, Dan hurt his back.
I feel like we've, which is cool, I feel like we've got to the point now where automatically we know every 2 weeks we're going to record, so it's just we turn up. So I think it's cool. We've like built a really good habit where it's like we just get into it. But episode 21, it's cool. And I think the last time we recorded together, we were still in lockdown.
We were.
So restrictions have now, I think from Monday... I think from Monday, everything's all back to normal. Like, we can have house parties, dance floors are back on.
Well, you can still have house parties, just reduced, but it's only like 20 people.
Yeah, but from Monday, it's like you can have, up to whatever. And
are you confidently guessing with that one, or is this facts?
No, I've seen it on Instagram, which is a great credible source.
Yeah, okay,
which is fine.
Yeah. I thought it was December that everything was back, but yeah, whatever.
It was a crazy time, man. Like, it's crazy. It's so nice to be heading back to some level of normality. Backpackers are starting to come back. They're booking their working holiday visas. People are booking flights to go home, booking holidays. Oh, it's just so, like, you realise, like, how different you create your life when you're in lockdown, and how, like, different things change. You get so used to what we're going to do tonight. Well, it's Friday. What we've been doing for the last couple of months, we've just been staying at home, having a few beers and getting a takeaway. And you get so used to that lifestyle. Now it's like heading back into normality. Everyone's going mental. Shit's completely packed. My bank account is absolutely getting rinsed.
Yeah, that's been an issue.
But it's fun, man. It's fun. It's nice. You know, it's nice. I got to the point, I think, where it just, for everyone, it just feels like you work and it's just you have your weekend and then you just work, and it just...
It's a very mundane life we were living previously to this.
It felt very mundane.
But in fairness, living in Bondi, we were somewhat quite blessed because even though there were lockdown laws, they were quite loose in terms of still being able to go out unlimited amount of hours during the day for exercise. There's no curfew compared to other places. So, like, it was lockdown, but it didn't feel too bad. All the cafes were still open doing takeaways. Bars were open at night doing takeaway margaritas and drinks. So
one of the bars in Bondi, I'm not going to name them, but they were still having like secret underground parties going on.
They're not one of the weekends. They ended up like, because they were obviously like serving people for takeaway and they had music, but because music was so loud, people around Bondi just started gravitating towards it, and there's a full-on party. Shout out to that place.
So good.
You do very good food.
Oh, it was so, really? I've never had the food there.
We've literally gone there like a couple of times. The place I'm talking about.
No, the place that Jack worked at.
Oh, right, I'm talking about somewhere else.
Oh, okay. What place are you talking about?
There's like, they do burgers.
I don't know. I'm not going to say their name just in case. I mean, don't even. Yeah, let's not say their name just in case.
Yeah, you enjoy their burgers. You're like, oh my god, the burger looks so good.
Oh yeah, they got fined because people were going to pick up margaritas, doing all these margaritas. There was like
no, but that's what I mean. There was a massive party there one night.
Was there?
Because like they had music playing, and then there were just people obviously going to pick up their food and probably just standing there and eating, and then like there was a full on little bit of a rave.
There was like organised margarita walks where it became like every week people were like, we're doing the marg walk, right? From there to like the bit. I'm like, what? During lockdown, it's like organised margarita walks.
But then they weren't breaking any rules. That's the thing, because you're allowed to walk or exercise in twos, even if you weren't from the same household. So if you're walking and having like or drinking something, it's just like you weren't breaking a law. You know what I mean? So it was fine.
Did you pick up any kind of like new hobbies or habits through lockdown? Anything that you've left where you're like, I wasn't really doing that before?
Yeah, I started reading a lot more.
You have, man. You've actually started reading a lot more. A lot of like self-development books, which is cool.
Yeah, I started definitely reading a lot more and building up a routine every morning, especially during lockdown. Because the gyms were open, I would go for a walk in the morning with Mr. Oakley. And then I'd come back, put on some music, and then like read for about 30 minutes.
I do that every day, mate. That's a lot of reading.
Yeah, like I didn't... Because I've never been naturally like a massive reader, so I didn't want to overexert myself and try and like, oh, I'm going to read a chapter every day or 2 chapters. That just was very unrealistic for me. So I just like...
A chapter's probably less than 30 minutes of reading anyway.
Pardon?
A chapter for the books you're reading is probably less than 30 minutes anyway.
It just depends, because sometimes depending on the content of the book, like I may read something over a couple of times and underline some like stuff I'd want to like rehash. Yeah. But yeah, I would say 30 minutes, set the timer on my watch, and after 30 minutes, I would just stop.
That's a really good habit to put in place.
Yeah. And then now that lockdown is over, it's like more of me having to like consciously find the time now, because I'm obviously trying to fit the gym into my morning routines again and a walk. So it's like gym, walk, and reading. So it's like I'm adding an extra hour onto my day, which I'm gonna have to like try and work around, but it's been good.
So you start getting up like 6 a.m. and stuff like that, because you have to be getting up early to get all that kind of stuff in.
I'm getting up like a little bit earlier just so I can fit in all those little things that I need to get done before I start work, because I find just doing those small little increments of things before I start work sets me up for like a really, really productive day. I
remember when lockdown first came in, or when I started working from home, I would get up just before my 8:30 morning meetings, like at 8:25. I don't do that anymore.
I started giving up. I gave up to you about that. I was like, you feel like shit because you're rolling out of bed at 8:25.
I know, and I just roll into like my computer, get up at 8:25.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
And I'm like, I just feel like shit, because I'm like, that's it, I'm just working. I've got no time for me. But now what I do, so what I was talking about before is like building new habits, and I read this book ages ago called Atomic Habits I think it's by James Clear.
Yeah.
It's an incredible book. I listened to the audio book, but it was probably one of the first books I read in a while, and he talks about like habit stacking. So like quite often when people want to like implement new things,
what is habit stacking?
I'll get to that in a second. But quite often when people want to like, quite often when people want to the Google. Quite often when people want to implement new things, I think that people like overwhelm themselves. They're like, cool, I'm going to work out fucking 6 days a week. I'm going to be eating all this and all that. And people overwhelm themselves. And what happens is they realize a week later that motivation's gone, and they're like, oh, I just can't be fucked to do it anymore. And I think it's because in people's minds, they set up these huge tasks, but without actually breaking down, like, okay, how am I going to do this? Where is this going to fit into my current routine? What habits am I putting it afterwards? What habit am I doing it before? And how I explain it, if you break things down in like really small percentages, and I'll explain that in a second, it's a lot easier. So there's like this saying where it's like, if you put a frog in boiling hot water, it will jump straight out, but put it in cold water and turn the heat up slowly, and they'll happily sizzle to death. And it's the whole point of like, don't try and go full heat straight away, just really slowly, 1% at a time.
Yeah.
So in this book, habit stacking is basically in your mind how you structure the things you're going to do each
Should we
day.
read Google's definition of habit stacking?
Well, I'll tell you what it is, and then you can tell me if I'm right. But like, I looked it up before, but I haven't read the book in ages. But I remember the rough concept, where it's basically like, in your mind, you have to go, okay, after current habit. So after, let's say I want to start going to the gym, right? A really good thing to do is I want to go to the gym. Cool. Break down, how am I going to do that? Cool. If I want to go to the gym, let's set my gym bag up the night before. When am I going to get my gym bag ready the night before? So you could say, after eating dinner, insert current habit, I will insert new habit, pack my gym bag. So religiously moving forward, just that one little thing every day, after insert current habit, eating food, I will insert new habit, pack my gym bag. So when you list your habits like that, you now have a structure in your mind of how you can start organizing your day, and it becomes a lot easier. Because if someone's like, oh, sweet, okay, I need to
like building like a chain of tasks that you have to do,
and it's so much easier, and it helps you get into like the habit, and it helps you get into the ritual. So instead of being like, oh, I need to go to the gym at some point today, no, but when are you going to go to the gym? So if the night before, okay, after my current habit, 12 o'clock meeting, I will, new habit, put on my gym shoes and go to the gym. So I know as soon as that's done, that's when that new habit is being implemented. And now you know every time that happens, that next habit is now going to happen there. So I started doing that recently with going for a swim in the morning. So I would, current habit, get up at 6:40, be in the gym by 10 to 7, be out the gym by 10 to 8. So that's my current habit. And the moment I get home, I take my gym clothes off and put my beach hoodie on, and I run straight down to the ocean. And now I've started doing that so much. I don't ride. I live right by the water.
You walk.
It's not, sorry, I walk.
You don't run.
No,
you
sorry,
don't do cardio.
I don't do cardio. But now I've done that so much, that has become so much easier. And just knowing, after I get back, I put on my budgies, and I go straight into the water. And so that has now become such a really good ritual. So I think when people want to create a new habit, I think just figure it out in your mind how you want it to look, and structure the things you need to do to accomplish it, to get to it. Instead of having a vague like, oh, I need to really start working out this week. Okay, well, what day do you want to start working out? Will it be in the morning? Will it be the afternoon? Will it be the evening? Because then you can start creating that, curating that lifestyle.
You almost need to like hold yourself accountable for certain things like that. For me, if before I go to bed, like if I'm going to go to the gym, I always have like my t-shirt, my shorts, my socks, and the trainers, trainers I'm going to wear. Like, so when I wake up, I don't even really think about it.
You're making it easier for like future you in the morning.
And then the idea behind that is that whenever you do that the night before, it's like you're using less brain power that you're going to need throughout the rest of the day to do like the actual more important mind working tasks that you'll have maybe at work, in morning meetings, or a project you're working on. So the less brain power you can use in the mornings and even in the evenings, the better. So like for me, have my t-shirt, shorts, socks, trainers out done, then I know that as soon as I wake up, all I need to do is just like roll out of bed, put them on, go brush my teeth, have my coffee or whatever, and then just pick my bag up, put the water in it and go. And that's it, you know what I mean?
And does that look the same now every single day for you?
Yeah. And I also find what's important as well before I go to bed is that I make the conscious decision that I am going to go to the gym. You know what I mean? So
what's that? Before you go to bed, you make the conscious decision
that I am going to go to the gym. Even so, like for sometimes I would let you go to bed, and I'm lying there thinking, "Oh, am I going to go to the gym tomorrow? I don't know. I'll see how I feel in the morning."
It never works.
Yeah, if I have that mindset before I go to bed, it's like, "Oh, I'll see how I feel." I'll wake up, and I'm like,
because you're never going to feel like, fuck yeah, I'm ready to work out.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I want to get up at 6:30.
Especially at that time of the morning as well. Like it is so hard to just like get out of bed, and it's not because I wouldn't say I'm tired, because as soon as I get out of bed, I'm fine. It's just like, it's just that groggy feeling you have when you initially wake up. So I know I make the conscious decision, like if I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow and I'm in bed, I've set everything out, I'm like, you're getting up.
Yeah,
and you're
you
going.
need to decide now.
Yeah,
You either are or you
I
aren't.
make the decision now whether I'm going to go in the morning, lunch, or evening, and then I just stick to that.
I think that's the big difference between successful people and unsuccessful people, is that like successful people or trait, they don't leave things up to how they're feeling at the time. They make a decision of what they want to do because that's what they need to do to achieve the goal that they want to get. I think that's like the big difference, you know? Having the difference of like, because motivation will only last for so long. I get up each morning to train, and I every single morning I'm always like, I just want to snooze.
Yeah.
I never feel like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to get up and train.
Yeah,
but I know
100%.
after I train, I'm like, yeah, cool, I want to do this again.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to make the decision the night before. But yeah, it's a great habit to implement.
100%, because for me, I have not been motivated to work out for maybe close to a year. Like literally, I've just like every day I go to the gym for maybe close to a year, maybe one or 2 days in a week. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm buzzing. But I would say 80% of the time, I have no motivation to go to the gym. But because I built it into my routine of life now, it was just a part of like what I do and who I am. I just go and do the workout, smash out the 45 to 60 minute workout. Even like coming out of lockdown, 100% buzzing, get back in the gym. Like the first week, I was like proper motivated. And after that, it just like went down. And then it just now gets to the stage where I'm just going because I'm disciplined myself to do it. It's like I'm not motivated all the time to read, but I just do it now because I know in the long run the information and the knowledge that I gain from these books that I read is gonna benefit me in the future.
I think that there's a lot of people that get into the gym. This is what I notice. There's a lot of people who get into the gym who lose motivation, and I think it's because people don't understand the reason why they go to the gym.
Gotta find your why.
I think there's a reason between training and exercising. And I think some people go to the gym just to run like a hamster in a wheel because they think it's something that they need to do. And it's like, I have to run like a hamster in a wheel because that's what I've been told to do because that's what's good for me.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why I think weight training is so beneficial for so many people is when you go, you're like, the reason why I'm going today is to lift X amount of weight to try and break through a PB of X amount of reps. And so every time you go, you have a plan in your mind of what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
But I think people that don't have that, that's why they get so bored, because they don't know why they're going.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, PT told me I should come 3 times a week and lift some weights. But it's like, but do you think you're doing it because that's what's going to make you feel healthy? Or it's like, are you doing it for a purpose?
Yeah.
So I think there's a big difference between exercising and training. And I think training is more beneficial for people because they go with a goal in mind.
Yeah.
So that's why I think so many more people should lift weights.
Yeah, that can also like roll over into work life, but even doesn't have to be weights. So people can do cardio and have PBs that they're trying to hit on a treadmill,
Yeah, some
or
kind
even,
of like thing they're trying to achieve.
That's the same thing in work as well. Like, you obviously, ideally, most of us, I imagine, wouldn't work if we didn't actually need it to survive. You know what I mean? And
really, I love working all the time for my
and
boss.
the thing is with society is that none of us asked to be here, and by being born, you involuntarily have signed up to be a part of the society, whatever kind of a society that you live in, depending on the country that you're in. Like, you've involuntarily decided when you work and you pay tax, you just don't have a choice. You know what I mean? And that's the same. You go to work, and if you're lucky enough to do something that you love and enjoy, unreal. But a lot of people do have jobs that like they don't like, you know what I mean? And it's about, again, finding your whys. Like, why do you work every day? I've got to pay my bills, I've got rent, I've got food, I've got a kid. You know what I mean? And that a lot of the time is,
we all fall into this like blueprint, I think, where it's like, why I will get up and go to my job because that's what I'm meant to do, and I will have Friday where I go out and get on the piss and de-stress from a really hard week of work, feel shit the next day to get over the piss and the hard week that I've had. And we just do that same cycle. But I think so many of us are naturally just stuck in it because I think school, it doesn't really teaches you how to like be an employee. It teaches you how to be part of the structure.
They don't teach you how to like run your own shit.
No one teaches you about investing, working for yourself. No one's taught about this.
There's a theory behind the schooling system and how it came about. Because obviously during the Industrial Revolution, there was like a massive need for like workers to be in a room all day working, doing something like that they've been told to do and going through the motions of very mundane tasks. And there's a theory that the schooling system was built for that, where they get kids, they put put them into a room. They teach them one curriculum every year. Teachers just literally teach the same thing every year. Teach them one curriculum. They sit there. They get told what to do. They get up when the bell goes. They go to their next room. They get up when the bell goes. They go to the next class. Then they give people students levels of hierarchy, like prefects, because that's a way of like having managers like they would, or supervisors like they would in the factory, and then the teachers and like the headmaster would almost be like executive, or like that runs the overall thing. So like that's how the schooling system, that's the theory behind it.
It's quite depressing.
Yeah, it's weird. I saw a really funny meme the other day, just like the biggest scam ever is that we go to work every day and we have 4 to 5 hours after work to get ready to go to work the next day. That's so sad.
Well, I want to top myself now.
Just think.
That's fine, though, because
you finish at 5:30 and everything you do after you finish work is like, right, if you don't go to the gym anymore, it's like, I need to go to the gym, need to buy food, cook dinner, make my lunch.
To make sure I'm ready.
To do the exact same thing again the next morning.
That's fine, though, because we're going out after this to get on the piss to enjoy the little time we have in between before we go back to work on Monday.
2 days, mate.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, mate. I had this moment the other day.
And then tomorrow will be a write-off as well.
I had this moment the other day where I was sitting, so I work from home, and I was sitting at my desk, and I had this like existential moment where I was sitting there and I'm typing, and I'm like, obviously been on the phone to clients.
Existential, that's a big word.
I had this moment where like I like came out and looked at what I was doing, and I'm like, what are we all doing?
Out of body experience.
Yeah, I was like, what are we all doing? We're all just bots sitting here typing away and talking to each other and creating this domino effect of like revenue going to business. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
We're just little pawns, aren't we?
Yeah, but then I was like, well, I have to keep doing this, so I just crack on. I was like,
you're trying to hit target. I
was like, fuck, I need to hit target. Shit, because I need to keep this job so I can pay rent and keep going on the piss on the weekend to feel better. Yeah, okay, cool, all right.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Not every, like, there's so many people, well, not so many, there's probably like maybe 10% of the world that are lucky enough to have created a life for themselves where they're doing exactly what they love. Like, if you're magicians.
Lucky.
Huh?
I don't think it's lucky. It's more just.
But
like,
you know what I mean. But yeah, like not lucky as in like, oh, they fell in their lap. Lucky enough that they've worked hard to actually get to that stage. And the thing is, though, I think when it comes to people making it like that, I think there's an element of luck, because you can say, oh, they worked very hard, but like there are millions of people in this world that work hard every day and don't get a break and end up in the movie, or don't end up in the music video, or don't end up becoming millionaires. There's like an element of like hard work and being in the right place at the right time, or meeting the right people. Yeah, there's actually who was that chat?
To get to that point of encountering that bit of luck, you have to be turning up every day.
That's what I mean. But you know what I mean? People turn up every day and still don't fall.
They do it just to hope it works.
I was chatting to someone the other day. I can't remember who it was, but they were saying that they know someone whose parents didn't go to private school. They just went to normal public school, but they send their kids to private school. And obviously the parents went to public school and done very well and are able to like afford private school. And the idea was just like, why do you send your kids to private school whenever you went to public school? Like, what's the issue? And they were like, the education's not why I send my kids to private school, like at all. Like, the education is the exact same, if not better, in the public. The difference between a private and a public school is that the people that you meet in a private school gives my kids more opportunities in the future. You're going to be meeting the premier, you're going to be meeting the premier's son or daughter. You're going to be meeting executive son or daughter, and then you end up falling into a circle that gives you opportunity, because everyone knows this. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
Yeah,
like if you go to private school with an executive of, I don't know, KPMG, and you're best mates and you're around at their house every day,
it's
and
easier to get into the right circle.
Like once you finish high school and you finish uni and you want a job and you have a decent grade, and they're gonna be like, I know who that is, great kid, bring them in. Like, you know what I mean? That's why a lot of people just send their kids to private school, because not because of the education or they were like stuck up. It's like, nah, like this is going to be the best opportunity for my kid. I don't want them to. The idea behind when you have kids, like, you don't want them to have to try as hard as you to make it. You know what I mean? Like, so many parents have probably gone through so much hardship to get their kids into a position where they don't actually have to fight to get to where they are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for me, if I was to have a kid, that's what I would do as well. I was like,
it's a very fair point.
If it's going to make my kid's life a little bit easier, this world's hard enough as it is. Why am I going to send my kid to public school because, they need to go through the same shit that I did because it made me who I am? Shut your mouth. No.
And
I get that.
It builds character. Like, it does build character. And it also builds, like... What's the word? Humility? No. Humility?
But I don't think sending your kid to a public school is going to build character or make them...
Like, so Shaquille O'Neal, I read recently, so the guy's worth
he's not going to give any of his kids his money.
Yeah, but there was a thing he said. He was like, my family get confused. We're not rich, I'm rich. And I'm like, it's a very fair point. You know, he's the one who's made all the money, put in the graft and stuff like that. And he's like, I've got 400 mil. My kids aren't getting it. But if they want to put like a business case towards me of a venture they want to go on and put a business case, I'll invest in it 100%.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But I want them to work for it. And I'm like, that's a fair point. Like, do you know what I mean? You build because the thing is, he might still give them the money.
Yeah.
But he might be saying that to build a mindset around them.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to work and work for yourself and build a business that you're going to be proud of.
Yeah.
And so, Gordon Ramsay said the same thing.
But
and
also...
his daughter has got like fucking millions of followers on TikTok. She's been on Dancing with the Stars, whatever it's called back home. Like, they've grafted.
But also they've grafted, but their ability to get to that stage has been a product of their parents.
Yeah, because obviously they know more people, they're in the right circles and stuff
Same thing, people are like, same thing with Gary Vee. Gary Vee talks about how he used to work in a wine shop, and I was like, that was your parents' company.
He didn't. But if you've listened to him talk about it, he didn't take like really any money from it when he started his new business.
But him being able to. He had like steps ahead because he already had.
But he built his dad's business apparently up from nothing. Apparently he built his dad's business.
But he got like the business was worth over $1 million when he got it. It was a very well run business. And
know that he
already earning money. Yeah, by the time he took it over or built it, whatever. Like, it wasn't like a piece of shit wine distillery or wine shop that he just took like about to close down. It was already doing well. And I get, he's got it at this point and he's made this, but it's like, don't pretend like it was about to like get bought over by the bank and repossessed. Like, that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? You've made it from, say, 1 million to now 50 million. Unreal. But it was 1 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's many people in this world that will never get close to that work in their lifetime.
I watch quite a bit of his content. He's an interesting guy. I've seen him on videos at some of the like 10x and stuff like that. Like 10x are these like seminars where they're like, we want you to 10x your life and 10x your bank account and 10x this and life is 10x. And it's a whole just like a big spiel and like a load of bollocks where they talk about, it's a mindset. Like, a lot of it is a mindset, but they basically bring people on who are motivational speakers who just pitch their businesses to people for them to like invest money. And it's like, it's a bit of like a piss take. It's a bit of a piss take, but I do like some of the stuff he does, and I've seen that he's done like interviews with people who are trying to curate their own business, and some of the advice he gives is very, very spot on. Like, and he does work very hard. The guy 100%. Does put in so many hours. So it's like, he had good opportunity, but it's like Elon Musk. The guy still fucking works like, 70, 80 hours a week because he just wants to, because he loves it. And I'm like, that is in itself is an incredible mindset to have. The guy wouldn't have to do anything. His worth apparently just went up to 310 billion.
Yeah.
What? It gets to the point, I was saying this to my housemate, it gets to the point, I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's that money doing?
It's actually ridiculous.
Like, it doesn't need it. Like,
it's not the bank, it's just assets and what the company's worth, you know what I mean?
I was saying, how much do you think he
ridiculous.
actually spends a year? Or what do you think he actually spends a year?
They're billionaires because they probably don't spend that much.
No, but on himself, if you actually worked out, let's say he eats out, he takes his, like, any holidays, what do you reckon he actually spends?
Everything he probably spends, he just claims back in tax because he's like business.
Jeez,
it's ridiculous.
Right. Apparently he's got more money than Finland put together.
Yeah. But you know what the thing is?
Jesus.
I love like these inspirational speakers or these business men like Guy Vee who are like millionaires or whatever, and they talk about how they started from nothing. And a lot of times when I watch these videos, I always go to the comments because I'm always keen to see what other people think,
the comment section,
or if they think the same as me. And people are just like, it's all well and good when you're speaking to people who are like already have 5 steps ahead, but if you're giving that advice to someone who literally is trying to make it and is making ends meet, like this advice is completely irrelevant. Like you'd say, someone would come, someone's like, "Oh, just quit your job. Just quit your job." I was like, not everyone can fucking quit their job, mate. That's. And then when he comes out with that, that's in my head. Like that just shows you where you come from. You even actually started from the bottom. Because if you did, you would know someone can't just quit their job just to like go after their dream. Because that's not real life. That is not the 85% of the world. Like for you, if you had a dream, you couldn't just like go tomorrow. You have a bit of savings, but you couldn't just like quit your job and then just like full gung ho just go after it, because
like I could probably invest like 6 months into it if I quit and be like, cool, I want to give this a go for 6 months.
6 months is not long enough, mate.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd have like yeah.
See, like 6 months is like to make a successful business. That's years. Like you don't have enough money to be able to quit your job and go years on top of paying rent, food, socializing, and then investing in the business. Like you probably won't actually see any income for that whole time. There's people who have a business for 10 years, have employees, and they don't actually get their own paycheck because they're just everything that they earn, they're just paying the rent, paying their bills, and just reinvesting the rest of it into their company. So like whenever these people, like we're using Gary Vee for an example, does that, I'm just like, it just shows your lack of knowledge around like the average human. Like it just doesn't work that way. And that's how it goes back to, you can be such a hard fucking worker, but if you can't get your big break or get in the same room or fall on your feet, like it's very difficult sometimes.
I like one of the things that he says, right, and a lot of other people said this, they're like, look, go for what you want to do, and what's the worst case scenario? People are like, I got to pay rent, I got to do this. Be like, well, see if you can move back in with your parents.
Yeah.
Why you want to do this? The reason why you don't want to do that is because of an ego thing. You've moved out, you want to live your own life. Yeah, cool. Yeah. But what's more important to you? Having your own place for now, or working towards your dream? And if you have to move back in with your parents for a year or two to do that, fuck it. But loads of people just won't do that. Because it's not an option for them. Like, right, cool, but you still have a choice. You're just choosing not to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, not everyone has the, availability to do that. But I reckon there are so many people they're like, no, I still want to like live my own. I was like, cool, well, what's more important to you? How important is this dream really to you?
Yeah.
And are you willing to fucking throw your ego on the floor, get rid of it to do what needs to be done?
Yeah, that's very generalized though as well, because
it's not everyone can do that. Yeah, everyone can move back in with their parents.
Depends where your parents live. Like rent's a big part of life, but obviously like just moving back in with your parents is not probably going to make that massive difference.
It's a lot of fucking,
but it's money that you can, it's going to be money that you're saving, but it also depends on the scenario. So like you can say, oh yeah, just move back with your parents, like that's not an option.
I mean, my rent over the year would be like,
how old are your parents? Like can they actually afford to have you in the house to pay their bills?
But so like my rent a month is what, like $1,500. So over the year that's like
here we go with the maths.
Oh, it's like 18. It'd be like something like 18 grand. Yeah, or maybe like between 16 and 18 grand. And I'm like, cool, if I give my parents some money, but it's not going to be 18k a year. That's money I could put towards a business. That's a fucking decent bit of wedge to put towards a business. So, rent is a big expenditure. So I think if you do want to build something, you've got to work out like, what are you willing to sacrifice to do it? And if you can do both, do it. But if you can't, you can't go out and socialize. You can't live on your own. You can't live in the ideal place. But if you put in the graph for a couple of years, maybe you might just succeed in what you want to do. Maybe. But you also might not. But the worst case scenario is you go back to doing the job you didn't like doing before anyway.
Yeah, that's a horrible case scenario.
But that's the whole thing. It's like, I always ask people when they want to do something, it's like, cool,
risk assessment.
What's the risk assessment? What's the
you know who you are.
What's the worst case scenario? And they're like, well, the worst case scenario is if this doesn't work, I go back to doing my job. So that's the worst case. You go back to doing the job you were already doing. So is it not more risky to not go for it if that's the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
Because really, then what's the difference? Really, you're just taking a sabbatical for a couple of months. Yeah,
it depends on the job as well. Like what?
Yeah, like it's not a one suit fits all. But I think we're just like talking about Gen Pop.
Yeah. You talked on that a lot longer than expected.
I want to ask you actually before we get onto the topic that you sent over to me.
We can do that another episode.
Oh, that's really interesting though. I really wanted to. No.
Now we're like 40 in.
We've. Do you not have time?
Nah. We've got to think of the analytics.
Okay. What's something really interesting that you?
I do have something we can talk about after this though.
Can you tell me something interesting you've learned from the books that you've read? Because you've been reading a lot. What is like one thing you've learned, or like your top two, or whatever it is? What like sticks in your mind of? Because I know you've put stuff on your Instagram and stuff like that, and you've shared captions and
some good little one-liners.
Yeah, some good little one-liners. So I'm like, what's something that you've read and you're like,
I'd say cool. From the Attached book that I read a couple of months ago, I think that.
You've read Attached? You're so deep.
Yeah, I'm so deep. Just trying to fix my childhood trauma.
Oh, stop. There's so much growth in you.
I say I learned quite a bit from the book Attached. If anyone has not read it, I highly recommend it, especially if you've had shit experiences in relationships. I think the best thing about Attached was how relatable it was. It's written by psychologists who've done years of research trying to understand dating and why certain people don't work with other people. And they came up with four different sections of your attachments, quote unquote attachment style, and how you navigate the relationships. And I think the best part about the book is what they give you different scenarios of couples. And there could be either anxious, avoidant, secure, or anxious, avoidant. So they give you different scenarios of these different attachment styles in a dating life. They could be married, they could be newly dating, or they could be straight, they could be gay, they could be lesbian, they could be whatever. So they give you those different scenarios. And I think the best part about it was when you read the scenarios and then they explained how this should have been or could have been navigated to come out with a more positive experience. You got triggered so much because I'm like, holy shit, that was me with my ex then. And I think back to my ex from like 2015, it's like that was me with her then. Then I'm thinking back to girls that I was talking to or dating casually. I'm like, that was us then. And one thing about it is when you read it, they give you like a test, so you get to figure out what your attachment style is. And when I figure out mine, which is anxious avoidant, it all made sense. Because the idea behind someone who's anxious is that they can overthink in certain situations, especially if sometimes they don't feel as if the feelings that they have is reciprocated completely. They overthink, and then they can sometimes overcompensate, and then the person who they're with may pull back. And then the avoidance side is that you can get the ick quite easily if someone does something that kind of puts you off or triggers you. And the idea behind it is like you could date someone for a while and your anxious or avoidant tendencies don't come to fruition until it gets triggered, until they do something that maybe could be like subconsciously, that something subconsciously that annoys you, kind of like puts you off. For me with my ex, she did things that I didn't know were an issue, but like they put me off and they gave me the ick. But I do highly recommend that people read the book because it'll change your life. And then now that I've read it, I like to have the conversation, like to ask people like what they think they are, and I explain what each one is. And also it helps me to navigate through conversations. Since I've read it with girls, I'm just like, okay, if I didn't know, now that I know their attachment style, or I can kind of pick up what their attachment style is, I can then almost provide an environment for them that's going to like ensure that they can thrive. Like if I know this person's anxious, I'll be able to communicate in a way that will ensure that their anxious tendencies don't get triggered. Or if they're avoidant, I'll be able to move in a way that won't allow their avoidant tendencies to get triggered.
You should work in sales, man. It's very influential.
Yeah, it's very important. I think it's a really good book to read because it will. I think it would have helped a lot of people in relationships in the past.
I did the test based on my previous relationship.
Yeah,
and I came up as secured. But I did. I answered it exactly how like I imagine being in the frame of mind. I imagine the conversation I had and how I felt, and that's what it came up with.
Yeah, so I feel like your ex will definitely have a different opinion on that.
But the thing is, just because it didn't work out, it doesn't mean you don't fall into that. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you don't fall into secure because it didn't work out. Yeah. Because you could have still been secure, but it just didn't work out. But I did. I read it. I did the test twice. Yeah. And I was like, honestly asked myself, how did I feel? And I was like, that's genuinely like what happened.
I wouldn't say you're secure based on knowing you since I met you, though.
Like, yeah. I'll read the book. I want to give the book a read.
You should read the book, and then you'll be able to get a better understanding, because they'll give you the scenarios, and the scenarios will come up that you've experienced with your ex. Like 100%. 100%. Because I read, there's probably like 10 that I read through, and like, I've been through that. Even just something as small as you messaging someone and then them not responding for ages, or you calling them and then them not responding for a whole day. And for an anxious person, that will trigger them. It's like, why are they not responding? And they're like, if an anxious person is with a secure person and they're calling them and the secure person has been able to answer, a simple text being like, hey, sorry I missed your call. I've been rammed in work all day. I just haven't the time to like pick up my phone, but I will give you a call once I'm finished. Boom. Sorted.
Yeah,
anxious person,
I understand that.
relieved of any anxious or any anxiety that they're going through, and then they can go on with their day.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you're with an avoidant person, they will get the ick because like, why are they so obsessed with me? This is weird. And then that avoidant person won't communicate that and say, I'm busy, la la la. They'll just probably ignore. You know what I mean? And just like push it off.
Fair.
Yeah.
What was the
I've got a scenario. Someone sent this in.
Okay.
I'm gonna try
Jesus.
and make this a very potent thing for every episode to get people to actually send in. Right. They want some advice.
Is this the person that you were just on a voice?
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
Yeah, okay, go on.
Hello, Kaz, if you're listening. Here we go. Me and my boyfriend have been going through a rough patch for a while.
Yeah, sack it off.
Shut up. Me and my boyfriend have been going through a rough patch for a while, and it was becoming difficult to be around each other, and we were arguing over the smallest things. We've been together for 4 years, so I've invested a lot of myself, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and sexually. But because it's been tough for a while, the sex wasn't happening as often either. We decided that we would go on a break to give ourselves time on our own to get our heads straight. The next week, after the break, I'm told that he slept with another girl.
Wait, sorry, after a week?
After a week. It's upset me because we were in a place where neither of us had any libido, and he's gone out to do that, and the point of the break was for us to get time alone to clear our heads, and he's gone and cleared the wrong head. I thought that was very funny.
That is funny. I like that.
What do you think I should do?
I think that it's hard because I don't know how she feels about the situation. So if I'm just going to go off of what's being said, I think it comes down to like people base a lot of their decisions on how much time they have invested in the situation, which isn't the right frame of mind. And this is my first initial reaction. If he slept with someone else, that's good. You've now found out that it probably wasn't going to work out. That's what that's now given you. It's given you clarification that you had a break. That
the relationship wasn't going to work?
That the relationship is not working.
Okay.
Because clearly he was able to move on very quickly with someone else. And that's not saying that he's a cunt for doing it. But what he's been able to do is realise what he's really interested in. And that's cool. That means you now no longer need to waste your time because you now both know that it's just because you weren't working together. Now, look, that's just based off that one story. I would usually ask questions of like, how do you feel? How do you think he feels? What do you feel about but I can't ask that. But just off that, it's like, well, awesome. You now know that it doesn't work because he was able to move on very quickly and you weren't at the forefront of his mind.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. The reason why you weren't at the forefront of his mind is because he doesn't think it's working either.
But do you not think it may come down to, this is just me being devil's advocate.
Go for it.
Not think it may come down to just human nature generally of men compared to women?
Nah, I think that if I was in a relationship and I had a break from my missus for a week, this is me, for a week.
Yeah.
For 1 week after 4 years, would I be trying to fuck someone else? Probably not.
But then,
I'd probably just take a week to be like, let's just have some clarity, hang out with the boys, let me have a few chats, let me see. The fact he's already going on the pool, it sounds like he's already excited to fucking be on his own. And it's not because it's about pulling, but it's about having the freedom to not be someone else's dependent.
In fairness, what if it was just like, went out with the lads, got smashed, and then just ended up shagging some girl? Where there was no like...
So I don't know the context.
Yeah. I imagine that's what it was.
But that's the thing that changes it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's
I don't know the context.
It wasn't like, oh, he's gone on to Tinder or whatever. And
Like,
we're just giving scenarios here.
Yeah. That's my initial thing. It's like, well, look, you gave it a break. He wanted to go away, and he ended up shagging someone else.
For one, let me just premise this by saying I don't believe in breaks. If you say you're in a break, you've broken up. I don't. It's like people that want closure. I don't think closure is a thing. I don't think breaks a thing.
I think closure is like...
No, let's not segue into closure.
Yeah, okay. I think it's very black and white. No, sorry, I don't think it's very black and white. I think it's multifaceted. I understand it, but I think it's multifaceted. But in regards to this situation, that's my opinion. And I think that, well, you've got your kind of clarity there that you had a break, and in that break, you weren't his priority.
But surely the point of a break is for you to be your priority.
Yeah, but if... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're making yourself a priority. Yeah. So why... So what's that mean if she's not his priority? Because the idea of the break is for them to go off and do what they need to do to kind of bring to figure out what they need or what they want.
So he's shagging someone else to see how he feels about it?
I've seen videos of guys where they're just like, yeah, I just need to go out and shag another girl to see how much I loved her. I'm just like, what?
That's romantic.
Yeah.
I might do that with my next missus, but listen, babe, look, I really just want to get an understanding. I just slept with her
because I just wanted to make sure that I proper loved you. You know what I mean?
And like, I do proper love. Look, I'll probably give it another crack, but like, I do.
I'm just gonna go out one more time just to make sure.
Just because I didn't really know, it was only the tip, and like, I just couldn't really figure it out. But what's your opinion? What do you think? Well, her question at the end was like, what should I do?
For me, I feel like a week's too soon to be.
Do you know what I mean?
Having sex with another human after being with someone for 4 years, and like she said, the reason behind them going to break, she didn't obviously give detail in the conversation they had, but it's like the reason why they went to break was in order for them to be alone and to clear their head.
He definitely cleared his head.
Yeah, like she said. Yeah. So I think it really does come down to what you, the lady that sent me this in, really wants out of it all. At the end of the day, it's like, does him sleeping with another girl really put you off? And what has the conversation been?
That's
with
what I'd be interested in.
Or whether you've had the conversation. I'll message her to see if she can give us an update if she's had that. But what has the conversation with him, if you've had one, been, and like how are you feeling after that conversation?
Because you know his headspace after. Like, let's say she asks him, hey, how do you feel now that's happened?
Yeah.
You're going to get like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of like, was happier not to be in this situation. Like, you'll know and you'll get feedback on it and you'll be like, well, fuck, he's actually not happy to be in this relationship anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, and I think it's really important, if that's the case and that does happen, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that you now don't need to waste the rest of your life.
That's true.
That's something I think people don't realize about breakups. Breakups aren't necessarily bad. It's a perspective. You've broken up because you realize you're not going to give each other what you need.
Yeah,
that's good.
And there's so much opportunity in heartache for growth.
100%. Lean into discomfort.
Yeah, you lean into discomfort, and you found and are now in a place in your life that you've probably never been before, because every heartbreak is going to be different. So the fact you're in a new place in your life where you feel as low as you ever have been, it depending on the way that you perceive your current situation, it's going to give you an opportunity to build on that and create like a new human, someone that's going to be better. Because the idea is you don't want to rest and put yourself in a position where you're feeling depressed and like overthinking what could have been, because that's not going to benefit anyone.
No, it's not going to do anything.
Especially if the problem is that you keep thinking about your partner, like they're probably trying to move on with their life. So at the end of the day, you always got to look out for number one.
It's hard, man. It's fucking... But yeah, I do like that. I really hope anyone else, please send in scenarios you're going through, because, you know, we find it interesting, clearly, to talk about this kind of stuff from loads of our other episodes.
I do have a few in my DM, so I'll bring another one next week, and I'll message this gal.
Oh, it's because you're at 10.3k now. So.
It is what it is. I'm like the fact you're updated on my following.
But yes, look every now and then.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Guys, thank you for tuning
in. For listening. And as always, follow us on all social media outlets, especially
Insta,
TikTok,
Facebook.
'cause we're getting
Facebook as
massive.
well. Let's get our page on Facebook going up.
Oh yeah, fucking Facebook.
Yeah, let's get our page on Facebook going up. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Insta. Share our stories when we put it up because it's really nice. Yeah, share our. Yeah, they can do that. Share our stories. Get the content out and send in anything you want us to talk about. Even send in like guests you want us to have on, like Abby Chatfield as an example.
Hey, why?
You know, just you never know. One day she might come on the pod. You never know. You never know.
We should try and get her pod.
She hangs around with some of like our mates now. So
Your mates, you mean?
my mates' mates.
Yeah.
My mates' mates.
Yeah, we'll not talk about that.
Yeah.
Right, bye everyone.
Bye everyone. Peace and love. Stay safe.